There are paper airplanes, and then there are John Collins's paper airplanes. Marvels that return to sender, sideways and somersaulting. A plane that seems to fly like a bat. And one that soars and soars.
I'm John Collins, the paper airplane guy.
For decades, Collins has been perfecting the art and science of the paper airplane.
I just love figuring out how things fly. There's a number of things you can watch fly when you're a kid, insects to birds to full-size planes, and they all fly using slightly different mechanisms, and that was just endlessly fascinating for me. And the idea that you could fold a flying machine from this really modest resource, a piece of paper. People are throwing it away by the tons. You could grab a piece and reuse that and make a flying machine out of it. After going about as far as I could go folding planes, I decided I needed to study this other field, this art called origami. So I worked on that for about 10 years, learning what was to learn there, and then took all those folding techniques back to paper airplanes with an idea toward making, a set of really great high-performance planes, and if all you had was paper, you could just make some high-performance flying machines.
Collins makes one of the most high-performance paper airplanes. 6 years ago, he set a new world record for distance by designing and folding this astounding long-distance glider. It was thrown by quarterback Joe Ayoub.
There it is. There it is. We are all over that one. That's going to do it. Get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there!
So we broke the distance record. The old record was 207 feet, 4 inches, and we threw 226 feet, 10 inches. We were the first glider to break that 200-foot barrier, to break out and set a distance record. It had all been done with ballistic darts, wings about this wide. Our plane has really wide wings. The old style, you'd throw at a 45-degree angle and it would just crash into the finish line, just a parabolic arc. My plane takes 9 seconds to do that. And so it's a real difference in approach. If you watch the world record throw, it gets launched level, climbs on its own, and then really flares and flies for that last third. So it's a real flying machine as opposed to the ballistic dart that could just roll any direction and just kind of crash.
Collins stopped by the Wired studio to fly the distance glider and some of the other planes in his new book, The World Record Paper Airplane, and to demonstrate how a humble piece of paper can become any number of thrilling toys in minutes.
What you need to do is engineer in the center of gravity a little bit in front of the center of lift. The center of gravity is the center of spin. You can find that on any paper airplane simply by spinning it. You can see right where the center of gravity is on that plane. It's right here. You just watched it spin. The center of spin is the center of gravity. We've got all this lifting surface behind the center of gravity. So now the plane is going to fly along. The lift is back here. It pitches the nose downward as the plane's going forward. What does that do? That allows me to gain speed. The plane is being slowed. Now I'm pointing the nose at the ground, gaining speed, which is good, but now I keep gaining speed at 9.8 meters per second. It's going to crash into the ground really hard. So I bend in some up elevator back here, and the air goes down. The top of the wing hits that bend, gets kicked up, which pushes the tail down, which lifts the nose, and voila, now the nose is level again. So enough up elevator so at the right speed, the plane noses up enough to just achieve horizontal stability. That's the whole trick with any glider. You're constantly balancing that center of gravity, center of lift, and a little bit of up elevator to get that perfect flight.
But not all of Collins' planes are about distance. Some, like his boomerang models, are fun in smaller spaces, thanks to some interesting aerodynamics.
The boomerang plane, this one is great because it'll circle either direction and it loops. The basic trick with this one is that the center of gravity is very, very close to the center of lift. So all you need to do is add just a tiny bit over. Then you have to imagine what a climb is going to look like leaned over. It's going to look like a circle that way, or a circle that way, or a loop. It's all the same trick. So flying out, positive dihedral on the way out. After the stall, positive dihedral angle on the way back. And then it's, toying again with all the adjusting. I'm bending the leading edge down a little bit, so when it's upside down, I'm getting a little scoop up to help the nose come back. And then I've got a little bit of up elevator here to help magnify that crazy tip stall out there. So it's this dance between what you do at the front and the back to get it to fly perfectly both ways. But it ended up doing something really weird when I threw it for the first time. The wings sort of oscillate when you throw it. So what's actually happening is the plane is going through a rapid series of stalls. It's a little bit tail heavy, and I've got too much up elevator here. So it flies and stalls, and as the body is flexible, the wings flex upward. At the top of the stall, no more pressure, the wings relax, and then it flies and stalls. Boy, I wish I could tell you the secret sauce to coming up with a new great paper airplane. And I have a couple of approaches, and sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a design approach, and that's what I would say, to learn and compete with a plane, even as simple as this, you do have to put the time in to get to know the material and figure out how it works. Obviously, when it does exactly what you want, it's really kind of a cool feeling that you've made this really great flying machine out of just minimal materials. And it really doesn't matter if you don't get it back in some cases. It's the joy of that flight. Yeah, I'm a kid at heart. I am a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, once again, watching their plane just fly out of sight and, having a moment. It's pretty fun.